What if the history you learned in school isn't just missing a few pages? What if it is a story designed to make you feel small, powerless, and disconnected from your true potential? What if scattered across the globe, in buried ruins and declassified government files, there is evidence of a completely different story of humanity? A story of people who could allegedly see across time and space, who built impossible structures, and who understood the very fabric of consciousness. This isn't just a fairy tale. It is a trail of breadcrumbs leading back to a truth that some believe has been systematically erased. A truth that powerful forces may have worked for centuries to make us forget. And tonight, we are following that trail. We will look at the declassified files and suppressed evidence that all point to one staggering idea. Our ancestors might have possessed extraordinary abilities, and that knowledge could have been deliberately hidden from us. To understand the scale of this, we cannot rely on myths. We have to look at the hard evidence. What if I told you that for roughly 2 decades, the United States government spent an estimated tens of millions of dollars investigating psychic abilities for military intelligence? For around 20 years, a top-secret program trained spies to see across continents and into hidden facilities using only the power of their minds. This program was real. Its name, among others, was Stargate. What the official story will not tell you is that this wasn't some new discovery. Some researchers believe it was a panicked rediscovery of a power our ancestors wielded freely. A power they have tried to erase from our history. A power that might just be your birthright. To understand the scale of this, we have to start with the one piece of the puzzle they can no longer deny. Project Stargate. It sounds like science fiction, but from the early 1970s until 1995, the CIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and other U.S. military branches poured resources into a clandestine program to weaponize psychic phenomena. It all began at the height of the Cold War, fueled by intelligence suggesting the Soviets were making significant headway in psychotronic research. The U.S. felt it couldn't risk falling behind. So, under a series of cryptic code names like Scan-8, Grail Flame, and eventually Stargate, they began their own experiments. They contracted researchers at the prestigious Stanford Research Institute to develop a protocol for something they called remote viewing. The concept was simple, yet world-shattering. A trained viewer could be given a set of geographic coordinates and, from thousands of miles away, describe what was there. These weren't meant to be vague, crystal ball predictions. Declassified documents reveal that remote viewers were tasked with actual intelligence missions. Proponents of the program claim they were asked to locate downed aircraft, spy on secret military bases, and track foreign dignitaries. One of the most famous, though highly contested, anecdotes from the program involves locating a crashed Soviet Tu-95 bomber in Africa. While conventional intelligence assets reportedly searched in vain, a remote viewer was said to have described the crash site, providing coordinates that were supposedly within a few miles of the actual wreckage. But it wasn't just finding lost planes. In 1974, a remote viewer named Pat Price was given nothing but a set of coordinates. He described a secret underground facility in Virginia with such alarming accuracy, down to the code names on the file folders inside a desk drawer, that the CIA reportedly launched an internal investigation to see if he was a mole. He wasn't. He was just sitting in a chair in California, seeing through walls. The program's star viewer, Joseph McMoneagle, was so prolific that he was awarded the Legion of Merit upon his retirement from the Army. McMoneagle himself has claimed the award recognized his contributions as a remote viewer, where he provided intelligence on over 150 otherwise inaccessible targets. While the official citation is more generic, his claims persist as a pillar of the Stargate legend. Insiders even developed their own slang for exceptionally accurate sessions. 8 martini results. It's so shocking you would need 8 martinis to calm your nerves. But in 1995, it all came to a sudden halt. The CIA declassified parts of the program and released a public report. The official conclusion was that Stargate had never provided reliable, actionable intelligence and wasn't worth the investment. It was, according to the official story, a failure. But what if that is not the whole story? What if the real reason for the shutdown wasn't that the program failed, but that it worked too well? Insiders have argued just that. claiming the program was ended because its success was becoming too hard to contain and its implications too destabilizing. They argue that the program proved something terrifying to the intelligence community, that the abilities our ancient ancestors spoke of are not myth. They are real, trainable, and accessible. The program had to be buried, its successes downplayed, and its legacy pushed to the fringe, so the public wouldn't realize the power lying dormant within them. The story of Stargate is the crack in the dam of official history. But once you peek through, you realize this isn't a new phenomenon. It seems to be a rediscovery of something ancient, a power that echoes through our oldest myths and is embedded in the very stones of our most mysterious ruins. Long before the CIA coined the term remote viewing, the ancient Greek historian Herodotus described an event that sounds remarkably similar. Around 547 BC, the Lydian king Croesus wanted to test the world's most famous oracles. He sent messages to 7 sites, telling them that on the 100th day they were to ask the oracles what he was doing at that exact moment. Miles away, Croesus performed a very specific act. He chopped up a tortoise and a lamb and boiled them in a bronze cauldron. When the messengers returned, only the oracle at Delphi had it right, answering, "I know the number of the grains of sand and the measures of the sea. I understand the dumb and hear the voiceless. The smell has come to my senses of a hard-shelled tortoise boiling in bronze with the flesh of a lamb." This ancient account reads almost like a textbook description of a successful remote viewing session, separated from Project Stargate by 2,500 years. And the echoes do not stop there. What if this lost potential was linked to a lost technology? Scattered across the globe are artifacts so advanced they challenge the conventional timeline of human history. In 1901, sponge divers found a shipwreck off the Greek island of Antikythera. Among the artifacts was a corroded bronze lump that turned out to be an incredibly complex astronomical computer. Now called the Antikythera mechanism, it has an intricate system of at least 30 interlocking bronze gears. Dating back around 2,000 years, it could predict eclipses, track the positions of the sun and moon, and even model the moon's irregular orbit. It is often said that nothing of its mechanical complexity would appear again in Europe for over 1,000 years. The existence of such a device begs the question, what other wonders have been lost to the depths? This question gets even bigger when we look at the megalithic structures of our ancestors. In places like Baalbek in Lebanon, Sacsayhuaman in Peru, and the Giza Plateau in Egypt, we find stones weighing hundreds, even over 1,000 tons. They are often cut and fitted with incredible precision. Mainstream archaeology suggests this was done with copper tools, stone pounders, and brute force. While experimental archaeology shows that amazing things are possible with simple tools, this explanation starts to feel incomplete when you are standing in front of the impossible scale and precision of these sites. You have to wonder if they possessed a technique for manipulating mass and gravity that we have simply forgotten. But perhaps the most intriguing missing piece of technology isn't physical at all. It is sonic. New research into archaeoacoustics, the study of sound in ancient spaces, suggests these structures weren't just tombs or temples. They might have been machines designed to alter human consciousness. Take the House Saflieni Hypogeum in Malta, a subterranean structure dating back to 4000 BC. Researchers have discovered that the oracle chamber in this structure resonates at a specific frequency, 111 Hz. When the human brain is exposed to 111 Hz, something incredible happens. MRI scans suggest that this frequency switches off the prefrontal cortex, the logical, analytical part of the brain, and switches on the areas associated with creativity, intuition, and emotional processing. It induces a trance-like state, a state where the impossible becomes possible. We see this pattern repeated globally. The King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid of Egypt is built with granite that rings like a bell, amplifying specific frequencies. In Mexico, the pyramids of Teotihuacan possess acoustic designs that can mimic the sound of a bird call or carry a whisper across massive plazas. This suggests our ancestors didn't just stumble upon these abilities, they built massive stone technologies to activate them.
They understood that specific frequencies were the key to unlocking the full potential of the human mind. We see narrative ghosts of this lost knowledge all over the world. We read of Vimanas in ancient Indian epics, flying machines that soared through the sky. We see a common thread in hundreds of cultures, a myth of a great flood that wiped the slate clean. These are often dismissed as just myths.
But what if they are distorted memories of a globally advanced civilization that was both technologically and psychically adept? A civilization that was almost completely erased from memory.
Or perhaps a civilization whose technology was not lost, but confiscated. If our ancestors really possessed these abilities and had access to a different understanding of consciousness, the biggest question is, why was it erased? Who would do this, and why? One compelling theory is that it all comes down to control.
Imagine a world where every individual had the latent ability to perceive truth directly, to see past deception, to access information without someone else in the middle. Such a world would be ungovernable for those who rule through secrets.
Think about the implications. A population that understood the deep connection between consciousness and physical reality might find that many of our modern problems could be addressed through non-physical means. An entire industry built on treating symptoms could be challenged. If theories about our ancestors having knowledge of natural energy systems are true, it could disrupt a global economy built on controlling finite resources. The suppression wasn't necessarily a single act. It may have been a slow, creeping process of institutional gatekeeping, but sometimes it was violent and direct. We see this in the destruction of the Great Library of Alexandria, where countless volumes of ancient wisdom were burned, setting humanity back centuries.
But we also see it in more modern times. Consider the case of Nikola Tesla.
Tesla was a man who claimed to receive his inventions in flashes of intuition, a state of mind remarkably similar to what remote viewers describe. He spoke of wireless energy and harnessing the natural forces of the earth. But when Tesla died in 1943, the U.S. Office of Alien Property immediately seized his belongings. Truckloads of his papers, diaries, and lab notes were confiscated. Why? The official story is that they were protecting national security during wartime. But rumors have persisted for decades that the government was looking for something specific. Schematics for a particle beam weapon Tesla called the Peace Ray, or Teleforce. If he was just a crazy old man with impossible ideas, why was the government so terrified of what was in those boxes? Many believe Tesla had rediscovered the same physics our ancestors knew. Physics that could liberate humanity from the grid. And just like the ancient libraries, his work had to be suppressed. In the modern era, this role of gatekeeper often falls to scientific dogma. Any phenomenon that can't be easily measured or replicated within the current materialist paradigm is often dismissed as pseudoscience or fraud. This isn't necessarily a conscious conspiracy. It's more like the immune system of an established worldview protecting itself. And when these abilities can't be denied, as was the case with Stargate, a new protocol seems to engage. They are taken over, classified, and hidden behind national security. Then, the project is publicly dismissed as a failure. Its data buried, and its legacy mocked. The message is clear. There is nothing to see here. Go back to sleep. So what does this long story of suppression and forgotten power mean for you? It means that feeling you've had your whole life. That nagging sense that you are more than you have been told, that reality is bigger and more mysterious than it appears, is worth exploring. The Great Deception, the Great Forgetting, was designed to make you believe you are just a biological machine in a random universe. It was designed to sever your connection to your own intuition. But something feels like it is changing. The declassification of files like Stargate was not an accident. The rediscovery of artifacts like the Antikythera mechanism is not just a coincidence. It feels like we as a species are starting to remember. Learning this hidden history is the first step, but knowing is only half the battle. The real question is, how do you access this dormant potential today? While the CIA was classifying Stargate, another agency uncovered the smoking gun of exactly how this power was stripped from us. A forgotten NASA study revealed that 98% of children are born with creative genius potential, naturally accessing that same theta brainwave state used by remote viewers and ancient mystics.
But the study found that by the time we reach adulthood, that number drops to just 2%. This is the missing link. The modern world, our education, our stress, our toxic environment, effectively switches off this ancestral power. It locks our brains into a rigid, high-stress frequency known as beta. This is why you struggle to meditate. This is why trying harder doesn't work.
You are fighting against your own biology. For years we thought this ability was gone forever.
But remember those ancient chambers in Malta? Remember the 111 Hertz frequency? It turns out our ancestors left us a clue on how to turn the switch back on. Recently, a leaked method has surfaced, a 7-minute audio technology that uses a specific sound wave to bypass the brain's resistance and reactivate that dormant theta state instantly. They call it the genius wave. It is not meditation, and it is not magic. It is the practical application of the neuroscience they kept behind closed doors. This is the tool to reconnect with your intuition, problem-solving, and luck without decades of monk-like training. This journey of rediscovery is a collective one.
The more we share this forbidden knowledge, the faster the old walls of deception might fall. If you want to see the evidence of the NASA study for yourself and understand exactly how this 7-minute sound wave reconnects you to your true potential, click the link in the description or the pinned comment.
Watch the video presentation that explains the science behind the genius wave before the mainstream algorithms bury this topic again. This isn't just about curiosity. It is about reclaiming the operating system of your own mind. Check the link below to see what they didn't want you to find. For centuries, some believe they have worked to erase our ancestors' true powers.
They broke the lineage of knowledge, buried the artifacts, and ridiculed those who spoke of a different reality. They may have done this because a disconnected and disempowered population is easy to control.
But a memory can never be truly erased. It can only be suppressed. It lives on in our DNA, in our collective unconscious, in the myths we tell our children, and in the very stones beneath our feet. The map to our full potential was never destroyed, only hidden. And now we are finding it again. The memory is not lost. It has just been waiting to be reclaimed. It is time to remember who you really are.